Hey guys, so I want to come on here and talk about these white supremacists in Australia doing what they do. And I've been told people, young or old, male or female, foreign or domestic, white supremacists are the same. Whenever you as a group of people allow yourself to be subjugated, pushed out of your land, and conquered for hundreds of years, and then you fail to administer any consequence to the people who have been torturing you for hundreds of years and oppressing you, then rightfully, how much leeway do you really have to sit up here and complain? Because Black people's actions globally, Black people's actions have contributed to this. And that's why whenever I do videos recently, I can't put this on anybody else but Black people. Because I've been said that Black people need to start dressing up in whiteface, mimicking white shooters and terrorists, and making it known that they are going to do something back. They are going to fight back. That you're not going to just sit up here and take shots at our community and get away with it. But Black people don't do that. Black people never do that. In fact, they never fight back on any level when there's racism. Now, Serena Williams and Venus Williams have been said to have made anti-Black statements, which haven't been confirmed. But we do know that both of them are with white men, okay? Both of them are with white men. We know that that Serena Williams is married to a white supremacist who owns and runs a white supremacist website. We do know that whenever something happens to her, she's not necessarily calling out racism for what it is. She's calling it sexism. Because there was the incident at her tennis match against Naomi Osaka. She had a clearly racist incident. The way they've been treating her, overly drug testing her, everything clearly has been race-based. However, she sits up here and she blames it on sexism. Black people interracial date and promote interracial dating more than anyone, while they simultaneously complain about white supremacy. Globally, if I'm a white person and I'm looking at Black people's contradictory mentality, how they sit up here, they talk about racism, they speak out against racism, but then I'm a white person and I'm getting defended, I'm getting the benefit of individuality, even though that same benefit isn't returned to me. I'm able to dress up in blackface, I'm able to murder people, and all I'm getting is forgiveness, love, Black defense attorneys, promotion of dating with me. I'm going to continue to engage in these behaviors. What Black people don't understand is that when there is no consequence to any behaviors, they are going to continue. There is no motivation. What would stop white people from doing this globally? Blackface isn't new. Blackface incidents are happening all day, every day, every single year. We see some story comes out about some white person dressing up in blackface. What have Black people done to stop that? No legislation being presented to get that put out a racial consequence and hate speech. Nothing of the sort. We don't see Black people dressing up in whiteface to mimic white people and make them have to look at themselves on behalf of their whiteness. It doesn't matter how many prominent celebrity Black people you have, they're going to engage in the same self-hating Black people, self-hating actions as their common Black people who are not given positions of prestige and wealth. If Black people wanted this to go away, they would make moves towards making it go away. Period. It's that simple. But when you don't do anything, when you don't give a consequence, when you don't treat people how they treat you, this is what happens. So it says another racist incident is making headlines in Australia where 3 football players dressed in blackface for end of season celebrations, commonly referred to as Mad Money. The trio, who play for a local Australian rules football club in the state of Tasmania, dressed as tennis champions Serena and Venus Williams and Kenyan-born AFL player Alir. Now, what's interesting that they're in the state of Tasmania. This is after they went and systematically murdered and bred out the Tasmanians. And now you have those same descendants of those same racist demons dressing up in blackface to mock and make a mockery and demean these two black women who are married to white men. Well, one of them is married to white men. One of them is said that they're dating one. So they're doing this to mock three black women. Two of those black women are with white men. I want y'all to look at how that looks. They're in Tasmania, knowing the history of how they went and raped and murdered and bred out the Tasmanians. Then they got the audacity to dress in blackface to mock two black women who are with white men and another black player. This is what black people have allowed. This is what black people have caused. Your actions or inaction has a domino effect. It has consequences, global consequences. Globally, black people do nothing but show love and admiration and worship for whiteness. It is insane. This is like being in a mental asylum, like a prison with a whole bunch of crazy psychotic people who like being prisoners. This is what it's like. It's frustrating. And what's most frustrating is that it's not going to change. You think black people, this is going to change anything black people are doing? No, because the self-value isn't there. And then they sit up here and talk about Esau and talk about Edom and talk about all these white people that God are supposed to do something about. God is going to do something about you too, black people, most of you. Because you are just as corrupt as they are. If you can sit up and defend them, if you can sit up and marry them and have children with them, you claim to be Christians, but you go against everything that's in that Bible. In that Bible, it condemns you getting with these people. Why are you still with them? You advocate for them. You attack them. In that same Bible, it says that you need to cast out evil, not lay up and marry. And that is what you're doing. If that Bible calls them a nation of beasts, lepers, why are you laying up with them, dating them? Ain't no God coming to do anything with you, black people, because you caused this. Black people are responsible for this blackface epidemic not ending, because what are you doing about it? You think Serena and Venus Williams are going to go up there and say what they need to say to deal with this? Or do you think they're going to say, oh, well, this is just sexism. It's sexist. I don't see race. We don't see race. I'm married to this white man who wanted to marry me because of my blackness. They're painting their faces black, but of course it can't be about blackness. Black people are lunatics at this point. Photographs of the costume surfaced on Facebook on Thursday, drawing immediate outrage from social media users. Some Australians still have no clue what is considered racist. Now, consider this is coming from a white man. I understand him saying that. I understand him saying that. This is the picture. Now, the whole point of them doing it is because it is racist, but you have a person saying some Australians still have no clue what is considered racist. This Mad Money costume is clearly racist. And I'm a person who was fed up with today's over-the-top political correctness. Well, you're engaging in political correctness because you're sitting up here assuming that these obviously racist people don't know what's considered racist. They would not be dressing up in blackface if they weren't meaning to be racist. That's just the reality. I'm tired of the fake political correctness where people want to tiptoe around white feelings. That is what you're doing. They know they're being racist. Their entire history is racist. Racism is written in their DNA. They cannot be the descendants of the people who went and murdered, raped, and bred out the Tasmanians and not be racist. Really? This is what it is. Like, how long are we going to live in opposition to reality? They are racist. Lions are not giving birth to humans. They only give birth to lions in nature, in behavior, in psychology. White people can only give birth to white people. In nature, in psychology, they're not creating anything else. If they are racist, their offspring are racist and hateful and demonic. They share the same DNA. What point of that do you guys not get? It says the stunt comes just days after Australian newspaper Herald Sun published a racist and sexist caricature of Serena Williams after the tennis legends lost to Naomi Osaka in the U.S. Open's women's final. The newspaper doubled down on its support for cartoonist Mark Knight by reprinting the picture of Williams on its front page the following day. Did Serena Williams sue them for that depiction of her? Because it doesn't look like her at all. So is she suing them for defamation of character? No, because she wouldn't possibly do that. The fact that she's laid up with that white man and have a child by him clearly can't be causing her to be contradicted, to be compromised. Celeste Little said, oh, look, a mere week after that racist cartoon of Serena Williams, another blackface scandal hits the Australian press because white dudes decided to dress up like her. Meanwhile, 3 Aboriginal people died in custody in the same time period. What a nation of racist slow learners. What a nation of compromised, psychologically confused, and demonic acting black people who condone this. Because you refuse to get up and do anything. How can you think that God is looking at you in anything other than disgust? God will not be sympathetic to you. You have everything that you need. You choose not to use it. Black people are choosing evil. You are making a choice to deal with this evil. You're making a choice. The latest racist incident involving players from the Penguin Football Club has left many Australians setting their days without blackface incident in Australia boards back to zero again, as many Twitter users equipped. Guys, Giovanni Torre said, guys, I'm afraid we have to set the days without a blackface incident in Australia back to zero again. This is how much clearly they do it in Australia, going unchecked though. Mark Watson said, sets days without embarrassingly tone-deaf blackface incident in Australia counter back to zero. I can't help but notice how all of these people speaking out are white. Where are the black people? Australia, another day, another blackface incident. But again, what are black people doing? I bet you there's a whole bunch of black people in Australia laid up with these demons. In a statement to HuffPost, Penguin Football Club said it was not aware of the players' intent to dress in this manner and that their behavior was unacceptable in this day and age. So they're not saying, oh, it's not unacceptable. It's just unacceptable in this day and age because unfortunately, we have a bunch of people who don't like it. While the trio have been reprimanded, the club insisted that their actions were not intended to be racist in any way, and all they meant to do was dress as one of their sporting idols. Really? And I'm sure black people accepted it. I'm sure black people accepted it. Okay, thank you for your fake apology, although you keep engaging in the same behaviors repeatedly. The players have apologized, and the league said it has put in place strategies to ensure that this completely unacceptable behavior never happens. AFL Tasmania, the state's recognized AFL organization, told HuffPost that it's vehemently disapproved of the behavior. We will be working with the league and club to get more information and see how we can assist in providing education for the players. Speaking to the Australian Broadcasting Corp, Aboriginal activist Michael Mansell said the football club had to take responsibility for any racist, sexist, or offensive behavior. People enjoy playing their sports, but they are entertaining in front of the public, and therefore they need to acknowledge the values that the public expect them to adhere to. This sort of racist behavior is offensive to most reasonable people. Let me just say something, okay? I'm just going to say this. Black people's behavior and mentality is disgusting, okay? It's disgusting. There is not one reason why any race of people should respect black people globally. There is not one race, because it is obvious that you don't respect yourself globally. And then you have black people sitting up here talking about they can't wait till white people die out. Are you dumb? That all you think is going to take is one group of people dying out when you're letting everybody treat you like this because you refuse to have self-respect? Because you think loving yourself and teaching your children love is somehow racist. You don't get to use the word conditioned excuse. You don't get to use that excuse. Do you think God is really buying this excuse that you're conditioned when you're engaging in intentional self-hating behavior? You are in the age of information. You have the internet, you have books, you have documentaries, you have movies, you have cartoons to educate you. You have everything that you need. There are continuous people sitting up here all day, every day, telling you about white supremacy, telling you about their racist mentality, telling you that they're not going to change. They're showing you that you're not going to change. You refuse to acknowledge it. But you want to sit up here and say, oh, well, we're just conditioned. No, it's not about you being conditioned. It's about you giving in to this evil. You call yourself Christians, yet in that Bible, it says everyone will know the truth. Everyone will have the opportunity to have the truth, but most of them will reject it. So how would you think that you're not sitting in the position of the people who reject it? You don't pay attention to your religion. You don't follow it out. You pick and choose what you want to do to support your complacency. You find any reason to lay up with these devils. Why would anybody liberate you from them? When it is clear based off black people's actions that being in a system of white supremacy is where you want to be. That is why a bunch of black people who really care have given up, because black people don't want it. This is why your liberation has not come, and whatever sky god you believe in, whether real or fake, has not came. And probably will not come, and I can understand why. I can understand why black people are still in this situation. When I was in my Christianity days, I sat there and I was like, why wouldn't God liberate black people? And now I can see why. I can see why now. I can see why black people are not liberated, because you don't want it. Any other race of people, do you think that if black people were running around in whiteface mimicking white people, that they wouldn't do something about this? You're in whiteface, they're in blackface globally because they can be. They're disrespecting you globally because they can. And even if white people died out tomorrow, Asians or Indians or Hispanics or whoever else wanted to oppress you would be able to oppress you, because you still don't have any self-esteem. You still don't value your blackness. You still don't demand respect. You still want to lay up with your oppressors. Why would anybody think that's going to change just because white people die out? It wouldn't. It's not going to change. It doesn't matter if white people, all of them globally, drop dead tomorrow. You would still be self-hating. You would still hate your blackness, and you would probably commit suicide just because you couldn't be around these demons that you complain are subjugating you. And then you sit up here and troll on social media talking about Esau this and Esau that, and God's go deal with Esau, and I can't wait till y'all get here. Really? Y'all's not coming. Christ is not coming for you. Even if Christ was real, you need to ask yourself, why? What are you doing as a black person that will make any God look at your behavior favorably? You don't get to just sit here and exist in your blackness and ignore white supremacy, condone it, defend it, love it, create children with it, and then have the expectation that somebody's going to save you from yourself. If you have to be saved from yourself, that means you're a lost cause, because somebody will continue to have to save you from yourself when you can simply just sit up here and learn and adapt to the times and deal with this evil accordingly. But you don't want to. Black people think that the way you deal with racism is to stick your dick in it or spread your legs for it. Defending racism, condoning racism, but then complaining about it. No, that's not how reality works. So yes, black people are to blame for this. Every time they dress up in black people's face, black people do nothing. But then why would they? Because you're out here supporting Nikes, although there's a white woman who just murdered a black man. But you want to go out here and deal with it by buying Nikes. Let me deal with the death of my people by buying Nikes. That makes a whole bunch of sense. This is disgusting, really. Because there isn't anything that Black people really need God to do. You can do all this. You can clean this up. You can get rid of this if you really wanted to. Small, simple things will make waves and impact. You could stay off social media. You could stop, or if you do go on social media, be on social media to change the narrative, to make them have to deal with what they are doing as white people globally. But you don't do that. You turn it, you don't, and we're not even going to say you turn a blind eye to evil. You embrace evil. You want to create children. Evil is your preference. Do you know how many Black people attack other Black people? Because all of the Black YouTubers who are really serious about this, not just trying to take your money, all of us are complaining about the same thing. We're fighting for Black people. Black people are fighting for white people. But you think there's a God that's about to come, fly down on a cloud and liberate you. It wouldn't matter if God was coming via a spaceship from out of the middle of the earth, from out of the ocean, descending from the sky. They're not coming to sit here and look at you favorably. When white people are punished, you are going to be punished right along with them. Because you're an accessory to their evil at this point, because you failed to address it. You've allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do. You've helped them by raising your children to have the same self-hating mentality that you have. We allow these white women to miseducate our children when we can simply take them out of school and say, no, history's a lie, teachers are racist, my kids are not going to be in that school. But Black people don't want to do that. Because, of course, if they do that, it's going to ruffle the feathers of their white God. Do you think God is too dumb to know that you worship white people? If it's obvious to me as a human, you think it wouldn't be obvious to a God, any God, a pagan deity? The Easter Bunny can see it. You clearly worship white people. This is what you want, Black people. You don't want to be liberated. Why don't you just admit that you want a pat on the head from a white person? All of this degradation, all of this murdering of your people, the rapes, the torture, the psychological trauma, all of it is worth it to you, because at the end of the day, you get to be acknowledged by a white person. And Black people show this all day, every day, and refuse to acknowledge it. Don't want to hear anything about what you're doing wrong. So clearly, you can't be wanting to be that liberated, because you don't even want anybody to point out what you are doing wrong. Even though you could just stop doing it. You could choose to change your mindset, gravitate towards people who are going to tell you the truth, rather than people who are going to placate you with lies. But you want to live the lie. You like the lie. This is the reality that you like being in. And that's why this is the reality that you are in. Because you can change your reality any day. Nobody right now is puppeting Black people's behaviors. You have more money, more media outlets, more wealth, more power than your ancestors did, but you sit up here and try to make mockery as if you're any better than when you are worse. At least our ancestors got up and did something. We not doing that. And then when somebody try to get you to love yourself, you scream racism. I'm over talking about this, y'all. I really am. Like, I'm so over talking about this, because if it's not evident to you that most Black people don't care, then I don't know what would be. I'm wasting my voice. I'm wasting my breath. I'm getting myself worked up, stressed out, bringing this negativity in my spirit, and Black people don't care. Because you will just watch, you will sit there and watch your people die. You will sit there and watch your people get picked off one by one by one. And who cares, because that death force hasn't come to you yet. You don't want to prevent it. Well, it hasn't happened to me. I'm too dumb to make the connection between black people only getting murdered and see that it could be me. I'm too dumb for that. So I'm going to sit there and say, oh, no, it's not happening to me. So, oh, well, that's on them. They didn't comply. You're no different than the evil that you complain about. That's just the reality. And I'm not talking about you guys specifically on this video. Clearly, you know I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you guys. But this is frustrating. Every time I see these situations and black people do nothing about it. Nothing at all. Just sit here and be passive. You got more white people in here speaking out against this than black people are. Because they're too busy, unfortunately, coddling white people's feelings. Thank you guys for your support. I'll see you in the next video.